I found out my twin sister had been living as me for 6 years when 2 cops showed up at my office with an arrest warrant. Sarah Martinez? The female officer asked. Her hand was already on her cuffs. Yes? My heart started hammering. What's this about? You're under arrest for embezzlement and wire fraud. The room tilted. My coworkers stared. My boss stood in his doorway, face pale. There has to be a mistake. I would never. Ma'am, you need to come with us. They walked me out in handcuffs, past the receptionist I'd chatted with that morning, past the intern who'd asked me about weekend plans. Everyone watched. Everyone saw. At the station, they showed me security footage. A woman who looked exactly like me, same dark hair, same height, same face, walking into a pharmaceutical company's office, accessing files, transferring money. The timestamp showed last Tuesday. That's not me, I whispered. I was at work. I have dozens of witnesses. The detective slid a driver's license across the table. My name, my birth date, my address. But the signature was slightly off. I'd never noticed before, but Rachel always made her R's differently than mine. Rachel. My identical twin. My stomach dropped to the floor. I know what you're thinking right now. How could I not know? How could my own sister do this? Trust me, I've asked myself those questions about 1,000 times since that day. But let me back up and tell you who I thought my sister was. Rachel and I are 29. We're always close growing up, shared a room until college, told each other everything, finished each other's sentences like twins in movies. After Dad died when we were 16, we got even closer. It was us against the world. Mom worked doubles at the hospital to keep us fed, and Rachel and I took care of each other. I went to college for accounting, graduated with honors, got my CPA, landed a solid job at a financial firm in Denver, built a good life. Nothing flashy, but stable. I had my apartment, my cat, my routine. I was even planning to propose to my boyfriend James next month. Rachel took a different path. She'd always been more free-spirited, traveled a lot, worked odd jobs, said she was finding herself. I supported her, sent her money when she needed it, let her crash at my place between adventures. That's what sisters do, right? I trusted her with everything. She had my spare keys, knew my passwords, was my emergency contact. We were supposed to be each other's person. Turns out, I didn't know her at all. They held me for 6 hours before my lawyer got there. Rachel showed up before he did. She burst into the waiting area in tears, mascara running down her face. Sarah! Oh my God, what happened? The police called me, said you'd been arrested. She grabbed my hands through the bars. Her fingers were shaking, or they seemed to be. This is insane. There has to be a mistake. Rachel, my voice cracked. The woman in the footage looks exactly like me. That's crazy. You would never do something like that. She squeezed my hands tighter. I'm going to figure this out, okay? I'm going to fix this. You're my sister. I've got you. I believed her. God help me, I actually believed her. They released me on bail the next morning. James picked me up. He barely looked at me during the drive home. James, I swear I didn't do this. I know. But his voice was flat, cold. It's just a lot to process. I got home to find an eviction notice on my door. My landlord had seen the news. Yes, it had made the local news, complete with my face and name. Building policy. No residents with pending felony charges. I had 30 days. My boss called that afternoon. Sarah, I'm sorry, but given the charges and the publicity, we have to put you on administrative leave pending the investigation. Administrative leave. Fancy words for fired. That evening, Rachel came over with takeout and wine. I've been making calls all day, she said, unpacking containers of Thai food. I talked to some lawyers. I reached out to everyone I could think of. We're going to fight this. Thank you. I started crying, again. I'd been crying all day. I don't understand how this happened. Someone must have stolen your identity. She poured wine into 2 glasses, handed me one. It happens all the time, right? We'll prove it wasn't you. The wine tasted bitter. Everything tasted bitter. Over the next week, things got worse. My credit cards were declined. I checked my accounts and found them drained. Not just checking and savings, retirement accounts, investment accounts, everything. Gone. My lawyer pulled my credit report. I nearly threw up reading it. $600,000 in debt. Credit cards I'd never opened. Loans I'd never taken. 3 DUIs under my name in states I'd never visited. A criminal record spanning 6 years. 6 years. How is this possible? I asked Michael, my lawyer. How did I not know? Whoever did this was very sophisticated. They set up forwarding addresses for statements, intercepted mail, probably monitored your credit regularly to make sure nothing pinged your awareness. He paused. Sarah, this level of identity theft, this requires intimate knowledge of your personal information. Social security number, mother's maiden name, old addresses, all of it. Rachel had all of it. No, I couldn't even think that. Rachel was helping me. She'd been by my side every day since my arrest. She was my sister. But that night, I couldn't sleep. I kept thinking about little things. How Rachel always knew when I'd be out of town. How she'd house sat for me a dozen times. How she'd helped me set up my online banking years ago because I was terrible with technology. How she'd borrowed my ID once in college when hers was expired. How our own mother sometimes mixed us up. My phone rang at 2 a.m. James, finally. We need to talk, he said. I knew from his tone. I knew before he said the words. I can't do this, Sarah. The trial, the debt, the uncertainty. I can't. I'm sorry. He hung up before I could respond. I sat in my dark apartment, everything I'd built crumbling around me, and felt something crack inside my chest, like my ribs were made of glass and someone had taken a hammer to them. The next blow came at Sunday dinner at Mom's house. I'd been dreading it all week, but Rachel insisted we go. We need family right now, she'd said. We need to show a united front. Mom's house smelled like pot roast. It used to be my favorite. Now it made me nauseous. Sarah, honey. Mom hugged me at the door, but it was brief. Stiff. How are you holding up? I'm innocent, Mom. I didn't do any of this. Of course not, sweetheart. But her eyes slid away from mine. Rachel arrived 20 minutes later. She was glowing. Literally glowing, in a new dress I couldn't afford on my best day, with her hair professionally styled, and there was a man with her. Everyone, this is Ethan. Rachel's smile was incandescent. We're engaged. She held up her left hand. The diamond was massive. Had to be 3 carats minimum. Mom shrieked, hugged them both. Oh my God, when? How? 3 months ago. Rachel beamed at Ethan. Tall, handsome, looked like he'd walked out of a Brooks Brothers catalog. We've been keeping it quiet because of, well, everything happening with Sarah, but we didn't want to wait any longer to share our happiness. 3 months? I heard myself say. You've never mentioned him. I didn't want to add stress while you're dealing with your situation. Rachel's voice dripped with concern. She turned to Mom. Ethan's a cardiothoracic surgeon. We met at a medical conference. Of course he was. Of course they did. We're planning the wedding for next month, Rachel continued. Small, intimate, just family and close friends. Ethan's family has a beautiful estate in Aspen. Aspen. She said it so casually, like everyone just has estates in Aspen. Mom's eyes filled with tears. I'm so happy for you, baby. After everything you've been through, supporting Sarah, watching her struggle, you deserve this happiness. Supporting me, watching me struggle? Actually, Mom said, your Aunt Clara left me some money. Not much, but I want you to have it for the wedding. $50,000. For my baby girl's special day. $50,000. I'd asked Mom for $500 to help with legal fees last week. She'd said she didn't have it. I watched Rachel hug Mom, watched her cry grateful tears, watched Ethan smile and shake Mom's hand. Rachel caught my eye over Mom's shoulder. Just for a second, and I saw something flicker across her face, something that looked almost like triumph. Then it was gone, replaced by her concerned sister expression. She came over and squeezed my shoulder. I know this is hard timing, Sarah, but I hope you can be happy for me? Of course, I whispered. Congratulations. I left before dessert, told them I felt sick. It wasn't a lie. My lawyer called the next morning. Michael's voice was grim. Sarah, we have a problem. A big one. What now? The DA has additional surveillance footage from 6 different locations over the past year, showing you, or someone who looks exactly like you, selling prescription medications, Vicodin, OxyContin, Xanax, street value over $200,000. My vision blurred. That's not me. I know, but the facial recognition software says it's a 99.8% match. And Sarah, he paused. They found the pills in a storage unit rented under your name, with your signature on the lease and your fingerprints on the lock. How is that possible? I've never been to a storage unit. Someone who has access to your fingerprints could have planted them, but proving it will be difficult. What does this mean? It means if we go to trial and lose, you're looking at 15 years in federal prison. Minimum. 15 years. I was 29 years old. I'd be 44 when I got out. My life would be over. I hung up and collapsed on my bathroom floor, curled up on the cold tile and sobbed until my throat was raw, until I had nothing left inside. My phone buzzed. A text from Rachel. Hey sis, just checking on you. No, yesterday was overwhelming. Lunch this week? My treat. Love you so much. I stared at that message for a long time. Rachel, who'd been by my side through everything. Rachel, who had my fingerprints on 1,000 surfaces in her apartment from all those sleepovers. Rachel, who'd been finding herself for years with no visible means of support. Rachel, who was marrying a millionaire surgeon in a month. Rachel, whose engagement I'd never heard about until she was showing off that rock. 3 months, she'd said. She got engaged exactly 1 week after I was arrested. My hands started shaking, not from fear this time. From rage. What if I was asking the wrong question? What if it wasn't, how could this happen to me? What if it was, who knew me well enough to become me? I made bail using the last $10,000 in my emergency fund, the fund I'd been building for a decade, the fund that was supposed to be for my future. Rachel offered to help. I've got some savings, she'd said, dabbing at her eyes. Whatever you need, Sarah, we're sisters. I told her no. Something in my gut, something I'd been ignoring for weeks, was screaming at me to keep distance. I drove to Mom's house while she was at work. I still had my key. I'd grown up in this house, knew every corner, and I knew where Mom kept things she didn't want us to find. The attic. Behind the old Christmas decorations and boxes of Dad's clothes Mom still couldn't bring herself to donate, I found it after 2 hours of searching. A shoebox, unlabeled, shoved behind a stack of photo albums. Inside were journals, Rachel's journals, from college. My hands shook as I opened the first one. The entry was dated September 2019, 6 years ago, the week Rachel had house sat for me while I was at a work conference in Chicago. Got Sarah's replacement driver's license today. Told them I lost mine. They didn't even question it. We look so much alike, it's almost too easy. Nobody ever chooses me. I'm the fuck-up twin. The disappointing one. Sarah gets everything. The grades, the job, the perfect life. Mom looks at her like she hung the moon. Looks at me like I'm a burden. But what if I could be Sarah? What if I could have what she has? I flipped through page after page. Each one made me feel sicker. Opened another credit card in Sarah's name. $15,000 limit. She'll never notice. She doesn't check her credit. Too trusting. Too stupid. Applied for nursing license using Sarah's credentials. Passed the exam. Working at Valley Medical now under her name. Making $70K a year. Sarah makes $85K. Between both our salaries, I'm finally living the life I deserve. Met Ethan today. He's perfect. Rich family, trust fund, the whole package. He thinks I'm Sarah. Well, he thinks I'm a successful accountant named Sarah Martinez. I'll tell him the truth eventually. After we're married. After it's too late. There were dozens of entries. Hundreds. A complete blueprint of how Rachel had systematically stolen my identity, my credentials, my entire life. She'd been doing this since college. While I thought we were close, while I was sending her money and letting her stay at my place, she was destroying me. The last entry was from 3 weeks ago. Sarah's arrest went perfectly. The evidence is ironclad. She'll go to prison, and I'll finally be free of her shadow. Ethan proposed last night. He has $8 million in his trust fund. Once we're married, I'll have access to everything. Sarah was always the golden child, but I'm going to have the golden life, and she's going to have nothing. Maybe I'll visit her in prison, bring her some cookies, play the grieving sister. God, I can't wait to see her face. I took photos of every page. Then I put everything back exactly as I'd found it. I needed help. Real help. This was bigger than a lawyer could handle. That afternoon, I walked into the Denver FBI field office. The receptionist looked skeptical when I said I needed to report identity theft and fraud. Have you filed a police report? I'm currently facing criminal charges because my identity was stolen. I need to speak to someone who specializes in this. 20 minutes later, I was sitting across from Special Agent Dorothy Chen. Dorothy was in her mid-40s with sharp eyes and a no-nonsense demeanor. She listened to my story without interrupting. When I showed her the photos of Rachel's journals, her expression hardened. How long has this been going on? 6 years that I know of. And she's getting married in a month? To a man with an $8 million trust fund. Dorothy leaned back in her chair. Ms. Martinez, what you're describing is sophisticated, long-term identity fraud. If what you're saying is true, your sister has committed multiple federal crimes. But I need more than journals to build a case. What do you need? Evidence, documentation, witnesses. Can you prove Rachel had access to your personal information? She's been in my apartment 100 times, has my spare keys, knows all my passwords. That's circumstantial. Can you prove she used your identity to obtain employment? I thought for a moment. If she's working as a nurse under my credentials, there would be records, right? Applications with her signature pretending to be me? Now you're thinking like an investigator. Dorothy pulled out a notepad. Give me the name of every hospital or medical facility in the Denver area. We'll check nursing licenses issued in your name. Over the next week, Dorothy worked quietly. I stayed low. Pretended to be broken, went to therapy like the court ordered, acted medicated and defeated. Rachel came by twice with homemade soup. You look terrible, she said, arranging flowers in my kitchen. Are you taking care of yourself? Trying. I kept my voice weak. Let her see me cry. I don't know how to get through this, Rach. One day at a time. She hugged me. Her perfume was expensive. New. You'll get through this, I promise. After she left, I found the baggie in my car. Under the passenger seat, right where I'd remember to look, but a cop doing a search would find easily. Cocaine. About 2 ounces. My blood ran cold. I called Dorothy immediately. She came within the hour, photographed everything in place, then bagged it as evidence. She's setting you up, Dorothy said. Again. What do I do? Nothing. Let her think it worked. It worked too well. 2 days later, my mom called. She was crying. Sarah, I found drugs in your car. Rachel told me you've been using, but I didn't want to believe it. How could you, after everything we've been through? Mom, I don't use drugs. Rachel planted— Stop lying! Rachel showed me bank statements. You've been withdrawing thousands in cash. She found needles in your bathroom. She's been trying to help you, and you've been lying to everyone. Bank statements. I'd never seen any statements, because Rachel had been intercepting my mail for years. There's an intervention, Mom continued. Tomorrow at Rachel's apartment. Rachel's therapist will be there. You need help, Sarah. Real help. I went. What choice did I have? If I didn't, it would look like I was in denial. Rachel's apartment was in a luxury building downtown. When had she moved? Last time I'd visited her, she was in a studio in a sketchy neighborhood. The doorman knew her by name. Good afternoon, Ms. Martinez. Ms. Martinez, my name. The intervention was brutal. Mom, Rachel, Rachel's therapist, Dr. Williams, and James, my ex-fiancé, who apparently still cared enough to show up. Dr. Williams had documents, Bank records showing cash withdrawals, photos of the cocaine in my car, a statement from my landlord about erratic behavior. "Sarah, we're all here because we love you," Rachel said, tears streaming down her face. "But you need help. You're destroying yourself." "I'm not using drugs. Rachel planted that cocaine." "Sarah, please." James looked heartbroken. "Don't do this. Don't make it worse." "Making it worse is what addicts do," Dr. Williams said gently. "The first step is admitting you have a problem." I looked around the room, at their faces full of pity and disappointment, at Rachel's Oscar-worthy performance, and I realized she'd won. She'd isolated me completely. My own mother thought I was a junkie. My ex thought I was delusional. Even the therapist was on her side. Rachel had forged bank statements, planted evidence, built a complete narrative of my downward spiral, and everyone believed her. After the intervention, Rachel walked me to my car, the concerned sister making sure I got home safe. "I know you're angry," she said softly, "but this is rock bottom, Sarah. It's actually good. Now you can start healing." I looked at my sister, my identical twin, my mirror image. "You're right," I said. "This is rock bottom." She hugged me. "I love you. We're going to get through this together." I drove home in a daze, found a message from James on my voicemail. "Sarah, I'm sorry. I know this is hard, but maybe after you get help, after things settle down, maybe we can try again. I still love you. I just can't watch you destroy yourself." He'd called Rachel afterward. I knew because she texted me later. James called. "He really does care about you. There's hope for you two once you get clean. How wonderful would that be?" She was twisting the knife, dangling hope just to make the pain worse. That night, Dorothy called. "We found it. Rachel's been working at Valley Medical Center for 5 years under your nursing license. Submitted your college transcripts, your credentials, everything. The application has her signature trying to mimic yours. And Sarah?" She paused. "She's been committing Medicare fraud, billing for procedures she never performed, ghost patients. The fraud goes deep." "Can we arrest her?" "Not yet. We need her to make a mistake. Right now, she could claim you gave her permission to use your identity. We need proof of criminal intent." "How do we get that?" "We need to catch her in the act, or get her to confess." But before we could plan our next move, everything fell apart. Rachel filed for a restraining order. The court petition claimed I'd been stalking her, harassing her, making threatening phone calls and texts. She provided evidence, screenshots of texts I'd supposedly sent. "You stole my life. I'm going to make you pay." "Watch your back, Rachel. You can't hide forever." "I know where you live. I know your schedule." I'd never sent those texts, but the phone number was linked to my name. "Burn her phone," Dorothy said, looking at the evidence. "She's been planning this for weeks." The hearing was a nightmare. Rachel showed up looking fragile and frightened. Ethan was with her, protective arm around her shoulders. "I'm terrified," Rachel testified, voice shaking. "Sarah blames me for her problems. She's threatened me multiple times. I just want to feel safe." The judge granted the order. I was banned from coming within 500 feet of Rachel, which meant I couldn't investigate her, couldn't follow her, couldn't gather evidence. "What about the FBI investigation?" I asked Dorothy afterward. "Complicated now." "Rachel's attorney filed a complaint claiming we're harassing her based on false accusations from you. The case is stalled until we can provide concrete evidence that doesn't rely on your testimony." "So we have nothing?" "We have her nursing fraud, but she could argue ignorance, say she thought she had permission. What we need is proof of the criminal enterprise, the prescription drug trafficking, the identity theft ring, and we need it soon." "How soon?" Dorothy's expression was grim. "Your trial is scheduled for 3 weeks from now, 2 days after Rachel's wedding." I felt the walls closing in. Rachel had thought of everything. The restraining order ensured I couldn't interfere with her wedding or her life with Ethan. The trial date ensured I'd be in prison while she was on her honeymoon, and once she was married to Ethan, once she had access to that trust fund, she'd disappear. New name, new life, new identity. The old Sarah Martinez, me, would be erased completely. That night, I sat in my apartment and wrote a letter. To Rachel, a surrender. Rachel, I'm sorry for everything, for not seeing how much you were hurting, for not being a better sister. You were right. I had everything and I didn't appreciate it. I was selfish. I know I've been difficult lately. The drugs messed with my head, made me paranoid, made me blame you for things that were my fault. I'm checking into rehab tomorrow. Dr. Williams recommended a facility in Montana. I'll be there for 6 months. I won't be at your wedding, but I want you to know I'm happy for you. You deserve Ethan. You deserve everything. Can you forgive me? Love, Sarah. I had the letter hand-delivered to her apartment, made sure the doorman saw me, crying, asking him to make sure she got it. Rachel called within an hour. Sarah? Her voice was soft, cautious. I got your letter. I meant every word. I let my voice crack. I've been so awful to you. Oh, honey, I forgive you. Of course I forgive you. She was crying now, too. You're my sister. I love you. Can I see you before I leave for rehab, just once? I don't know if that's a good idea. The restraining order. Please, Rachel, I need closure. I need to tell you in person how sorry I am. Silence. I could practically hear her weighing the options, calculating. Okay, she finally said. Tomorrow, coffee at Bluebird, the place near your apartment, 1 hour, but Ethan's coming with me. Thank you. Thank you so much. I hung up and immediately called Dorothy. She took the bait. You're sure you want to do this? If she suspects anything, she won't. I'm playing broken. It's what she wants to see. The next morning, I showed up at Bluebird Cafe, looking every bit the part of a woman at rock bottom. No makeup, sweatpants, hair unwashed. I'd been crying for real. Easy to do when your life is in ruins. Rachel arrived with Ethan. She looked stunning in a cream cashmere sweater and designer jeans. The happy bride-to-be taking time from her perfect life to comfort her mess of a sister. She hugged me, long and tight. Oh, Sarah, look at you. I know. I wiped my eyes. I'm a disaster. We sat. Ethan ordered coffees while Rachel held my hand across the table. Montana will be good for you, she said. Fresh start, clean air. Time to heal. I hope so. I looked at her engagement ring. 5 carats, emerald cut. Had to be worth more than my car. Your wedding is in 2 weeks? 19 days. Her smile was radiant. Small ceremony, like I said, just close family and friends. I wish you could be there. Me too, but I understand. I paused. Will you send me pictures? Of course. Ethan returned with coffees. He was handsome in that bland, rich guy way. Perfectly styled hair, expensive watch, confident smile. Sarah, it's good to finally meet you, he said. Rachel talks about you all the time. I bet she does. We talked for an hour. I played my role perfectly. Apologetic, broken, grateful for Rachel's forgiveness. I asked about the wedding plans, about Ethan's family, about their honeymoon. 2 weeks in Bali, Rachel said dreamily. Then we're moving to Ethan's family estate in Connecticut. His dad wants him to take over the practice there. Connecticut, across the country, where Rachel could start fresh with a new name and Ethan's money while I rotted in federal prison. That sounds amazing, I said. You deserve it, Rach. You really do. When we stood to leave, Rachel hugged me again. You're going to be okay, Sarah. I promise. I know, because I have you looking out for me. I watched them walk away, hand in hand. The perfect couple, living my life, with my name, while I had nothing. But they didn't see what I saw, the tiny recording device tucked in the flower arrangement on our table. Dorothy's latest FBI tech, crystal clear audio, facial recognition, everything, and they definitely didn't hear what Rachel said to Ethan as they got in his car. But the FBI did. God, she's pathetic, like a kicked puppy. I almost feel bad. She's your sister, Ethan said. Maybe you should what? Tell her the truth? That I've been living as her for 6 years? That I'm going to have everything she worked for? Rachel laughed. She's going to prison, Ethan. She's done, and we're just getting started. Dorothy called me that night. We got it. Clear admission of identity theft and fraud. But Sarah, there's more. What? We dug deeper into Rachel's financials. She didn't just steal your identity, she's been selling it, your credentials, your social security number, your credit history. She's got a whole network, 12 other victims. She's been teaching people how to do what she did to you. 12 other victims, 12 other lives destroyed. She made $200,000 last year selling identity theft techniques, Dorothy continued. She's running a criminal enterprise, and Sarah… She paused. Ethan's aunt is suspicious, Nancy Hartford. She hired a private investigator when Rachel refused to sign a prenup. The investigator found discrepancies. He contacted us. What kind of discrepancies? Financial records showing Rachel receiving large sums from offshore accounts, travel records that don't match her story, and life insurance policies, 3 of them, all on Ethan, totaling $12 million. My stomach dropped. She's going to kill him. We think so. After the wedding. Make it look like an accident. Frame you for it since you've already been threatening her. When? Honeymoon in Bali. Drowning accident. Easy to stage. She's already got the narrative ready. Deranged twin sister, history of violence, restraining order. You'll go down for murder. She'll be the grieving widow with $12 million and a trust fund. This wasn't just identity theft anymore. This was murder. What do? We have enough for a warrant. We're raiding her apartment tomorrow. We'll find the evidence we need, the fake IDs, the financial records, everything. But tomorrow was too late. That night, Rachel called me. Sarah, it's me. I need your help. My heart stopped. What's wrong? It's Ethan. He found something, some financial discrepancy. He's asking questions. Her voice was panicked. Real panic for the first time. He wants to postpone the wedding, says something doesn't add up. What are you going to do? I don't know. I can't lose him, Sarah. I can't lose this. She was crying now. What if he finds out about us, about the identity thing? The identity thing. Like it was a minor detail. Maybe you should tell him the truth, I said carefully. Are you insane? He'd leave me. He'd call the police. She was spiraling. No, I'll fix this. I always fix things. She hung up. I immediately called Dorothy. Rachel's panicking. Ethan's suspicious. She might run. We're moving up the raid. Tomorrow morning, 6 a.m. But Rachel moved faster. At 4 a.m., my phone rang. Mom. Sarah, it's Rachel. She's in the hospital. Someone broke into her apartment. She's been attacked. I got to the hospital in 20 minutes. Mom was in the waiting room, hysterical. Ethan was there too, looking shaken. What happened? I asked. Someone broke in while she was sleeping, Mom sobbed. Beat her. She's in surgery now. They think it was a robbery. A robbery! In a luxury building with a doorman and security cameras. I looked at Ethan. Were you there? No, I was at my place. She called me screaming. I got there and found her on the floor. His hands were shaking. There was blood everywhere. Rachel had staged it. She'd beaten herself or had someone do it to create a diversion, to buy time. I pulled Dorothy aside when she arrived. This is a setup. I know. We checked the security footage. No one entered or left her building. She did this to herself. Why? To move up the wedding. She'll claim she needs security, needs protection. She'll convince Ethan to marry her immediately. Then they'll leave the country before we can stop them. Can you arrest her now? Not while she's in the hospital. And her lawyer is already claiming police harassment. If we move too fast, we could lose the case. I watched through the window as they wheeled Rachel out of surgery. She looked pale, fragile, a bandage on her head, bruises on her face. Ethan rushed to her side. She grabbed his hand. I'm so scared, she whispered. What if they come back? They won't. I won't let them. He kissed her forehead. We'll move up the wedding this week. I want you safe with me. And just like that, Rachel had won again. The wedding was moved to 5 days from now. A small ceremony at Ethan's family estate. Just immediate family. My trial was in 7 days. We're out of time, I told Dorothy. We have a warrant. We can raid her apartment, seize her records, arrest her before the wedding. And if she lawyers up? If she destroys evidence? Then we're back to square one. But Sarah, we have her confession on tape. We have the nursing fraud. We have the identity theft ring. We can build a case. But something felt wrong. Rachel was too calm, too confident. That night, I got a text from an unknown number. "Sarah, it's Hermione, your old roommate from college. I saw the news. I think I can help. Call me." Hermione. I hadn't talked to her in years, but she'd been there during college. She'd known both of us. I called. "Sarah, God, I can't believe what Rachel's done to you. What do you know?" "I have photos from graduation. Remember how Rachel wanted to pretend to be you for the ceremony because you were sick? I took pictures of her wearing your cap and gown, signing your diploma. I kept them because I thought it was funny at the time. But now—" "Can you send them to me?" "Already did. Check your email. And Sarah, I contacted the FBI. I want to help." The photos were perfect. Dated, time-stamped, showing Rachel clearly pretending to be me. Proof of the identity theft going back to college. Dorothy was ecstatic. This is exactly what we needed, with Hermione's testimony and these photos. But the next morning, Hermione called me in tears. "Rachel's lawyer contacted me. They're threatening to sue me for defamation. They have some expert who says the photos are photoshopped, that I'm conspiring with you to frame Rachel." "That's insane. The photos are real." "I know, but they're saying I could face criminal charges. Sarah, I have kids. I can't afford a lawsuit. I can't risk this." She was sobbing. "I'm sorry. I have to recant my statement." And just like that, our evidence was gone. Rachel was always 3 steps ahead, but she'd made one mistake. She'd underestimated Ethan's family. Ethan's Aunt Nancy called me the next day. "Ms. Martinez? The real Ms. Martinez?" "Yes. I hired a private investigator to look into your sister. My nephew is too trusting, too in love, but I protect my family." Her voice was steel. "I have evidence. Financial records showing your sister receiving large sums of money from selling personal information, travel records that contradict her story, life insurance policies on Ethan that he knows nothing about. Will you help us?" "I already have. I contacted the FBI this morning. Agent Chen has everything." Dorothy confirmed it within the hour. "Nancy's evidence is solid. We have enough for a warrant. We're raiding Rachel's apartment and arresting her tonight." Before the wedding? Before the wedding. "Sarah, this is it. We've got her." I should have felt relief. Instead, I felt dread. Rachel called me that evening. Her voice was strange, manic. "I know what you're doing," she said. "I know you've been working with the FBI. I know about Nancy's investigation." "Rachel, it doesn't matter. Tomorrow I marry Ethan. Tomorrow I win. And you're going to prison. I made sure of it." "How?" "Remember that storage unit? The one with the pills? There's more than pills there, Sarah. There's evidence of everything you've done. Your fingerprints, your DNA, letters in your handwriting detailing your entire criminal operation." "I didn't write any letters." "I know." She laughed. "I did. But they're perfect. Expert forgers can't tell the difference from your real handwriting, and the jury will believe them. Because why wouldn't they? You're the accountant. You're the one with the motive. You're the one who's been mentally unstable. The FBI knows the truth. The FBI has theories. I have evidence. Physical evidence that will put you away for 20 years. She paused. "I thought about killing you, you know. Would have been easier. But this? Watching you lose everything while I live your dream life? This is better. You're sick. I'm a survivor. You were always Mom's favorite. The smart one. The good one. Well, look at you now, and look at me. Mrs. Ethan Hartford, living in Connecticut. Trust fund. Beautiful life. Everything you wanted. It won't last. They know what you did. They suspect. Big difference. And by the time they build a case, I'll be untouchable. Ethan's family has lawyers, money, power. They protect their own, and I'm about to become one of them." She hung up. I sat in the dark, shaking. Because she was right. Even with everything Dorothy had found, even with Nancy's evidence, A good defense attorney could cast doubt, could claim I was framing Rachel, could point to all that physical evidence in the storage unit. Rachel had built a perfect trap, and I was sitting in the middle of it. My phone rang again. Dorothy. "We have a problem." "What now?" Rachel's lawyer filed a motion to suppress all evidence from the FBI investigation, claims we violated her rights, that we targeted her based on false accusations from you. The judge is reviewing it now. Can they do that? If the judge agrees, everything we've found could be inadmissible. We'd have to start over. The wedding is tomorrow. I know. That night, I couldn't sleep. I kept thinking about Dad, about the night he died. Rachel had been there, 16 years old, holding his hand. "Be good to each other," he'd said to both of us. "You're all each other has." She'd promised. We both had. I never thought my sister could be a monster, but monsters don't always have fangs. Sometimes they have your face. The next morning, I made a decision. I wasn't going to let Rachel win, not because of pride or revenge, because she'd hurt 12 other people, because she'd kill Ethan for his money, because she'd keep destroying lives until someone stopped her. I called Dorothy. "I have an idea, but it's risky." "I'm listening." "Get me into that wedding." She was quiet for a long moment. "You have a restraining order. If you violate it—" "I know, but you can deputize me, right? Make me a federal witness. Give me immunity for the purposes of the investigation." "That's not how it works." "Make it work, please. This is the only way." Another pause. "What's your plan?" "Rachel's going to confess. In front of everyone. I just need to get her talking." "And if she doesn't?" "Then I go to prison, but at least I tried." Dorothy took a breath. "Okay, but Sarah, this is it. We get one shot." The wedding was at 2 p.m. 300 guests at Ethan's family estate in Aspen. Dorothy got me in as a photographer. Fake credentials, fake ID, everything. My hair was different. Blonde wig, different makeup. Even I barely recognized myself. I set up my camera in the back of the venue, watched guests arrive. Ethan's family was old money, the women in designer gowns, the men in custom suits. My mother was there, looking uncomfortable in a dress Rachel must have bought her. Rachel arrived at 1:45. She was breathtaking in a white Vera Wang gown, hair perfect, makeup perfect. The picture of a blushing bride. She'd won. She'd actually won. The ceremony began. I positioned myself to get a clear shot of her face. The officiant spoke. "Dearly beloved, we are gathered here today." My hands were sweating. The camera felt heavy. "If anyone here has reason why these two should not be wed, speak now or forever hold your peace." This was it. I stood up. Rachel's head snapped toward me. Even through the wig, even through the disguise, she knew. Her face went white. "I object," I said clearly. The room erupted. Gasps, murmurs. Ethan's mother stood up. "Who is that? Security!" I reached up and pulled off the wig. "My name is Sarah Martinez, the real Sarah Martinez, and the woman standing at that altar has been living as me for 6 years. Rachel found her voice. "She's violating a restraining order. Call the police. She's mentally unstable." But Dorothy was already moving. She stood, flashing her FBI badge. "Nobody move. This is a federal investigation." Rachel's eyes darted to the exits. FBI agents stood at every door. She was trapped. Dorothy nodded to me. I stepped forward, pulling out a small remote. "I have something to show everyone." The screens around the venue lit up, the same screens meant to display wedding photos. But instead, they showed Rachel's journals. Her confessions, her plans. Got Sarah's replacement driver's license today. Told them I lost mine. They didn't even question it. Applied for nursing license using Sarah's credentials. Working at Valley Medical now under her name. Met Ethan today. He's perfect. Rich family, trust fund, the whole package. Rachel screamed. "Those are fake. She photoshopped them. She's trying to frame me." But the screens kept showing evidence. Surveillance footage of Rachel using my ID. Bank records showing the $200,000 from selling my identity. Life insurance policies on Ethan. Then came the recording from Bluebird Cafe. Rachel's voice, crystal clear. "She's going to prison, Ethan. She's done, and we're just getting started." Ethan turned to look at Rachel. "What is this?" "It's lies." Rachel's perfect makeup was running now, tears and mascara streaking her face. "She's jealous. She can't stand to see me happy." "Then explain this," Dorothy said, pulling out a folder. Nursing license fraud, Medicare fraud, identity theft of 12 victims, life insurance policies totaling $12 million on your fiancé, policies he knows nothing about. Ethan's face had gone pale. "Rachel?" "It's not what it looks like," Rachel said, reaching for him. "I can explain." He stepped back. "Did you use your sister's identity?" "Only because I—" Rachel's composure was cracking. "She had everything, the grades, the job, the perfect life. Nobody ever chose me." "So you stole her life?" "I improved it. I made something of myself. She was wasting her potential." "You framed her for crimes she didn't commit," Ethan said quietly. "You were going to let her go to prison." "She deserves it!" Rachel shrieked. The mask was completely off now. "She's nothing. She's always been nothing. I'm the one who made Sarah Martinez into someone worth knowing." The room was dead silent. Nancy stood up, her voice cold. "Security! Escort this woman out." "No!" Rachel lunged for the projector, trying to shut it down. 2 security guards grabbed her arms. She thrashed, screaming, "I did everything right. I followed the rules. I became her better than she ever was. This was supposed to be my life." She broke free and ran, not toward the exits, but toward me. "You ruined everything," she screamed, grabbing my shoulders. "I hate you. I've always hated you. You're the golden child, the perfect daughter, and I'm nothing. I'm the afterthought, the mistake." FBI agents moved in, but I held up my hand. "Tell them, Rachel," I said quietly. "Tell them everything, because this is your last chance at any kind of redemption." "Redemption?" She laughed, wild and manic. "For what? For taking what should have been mine? For being smarter than you? For—" She stopped, looked around at the faces staring at her, at Mom, tears streaming down her cheeks, at Ethan, backing away like she was a stranger, at the FBI agents with handcuffs. "For 6 years," I continued, "you've been me. You've lived my life, used my credentials, my reputation, my name. You framed me for crimes I didn't commit. You sold my identity to criminals. You were going to let me die in prison." "You would have been fine in prison," Rachel spat. "You're strong. You always land on your feet. But me? I needed this. I needed him." She pointed at Ethan. "His money, his family, his name. And what was your plan after the wedding?" Rachel's eyes flickered. "I don't know what you mean." "The life insurance policies, the honeymoon in Bali. Were you going to kill him?" "No." "Then why $12 million in policies he never signed for?" She said nothing. Dorothy stepped forward. "Rachel Martinez, you're under arrest for identity theft, wire fraud, conspiracy to commit murder, and 44 other federal charges." "This isn't fair," Rachel struggled as they put cuffs on her. "Sarah had everything handed to her. I had to fight for scraps. You don't understand what it's like being the disappointing twin." "I understand," I said. "I understand you're a sociopath who destroyed lives for money." They led her toward the door. She turned back one last time. "You think you won?" "You'll never be free of me, Sarah. Never. Every time you look in the mirror, you'll see my face." "No," I said. "I'll see mine. Finally." They took her away. The venue was chaos. Guests leaving, family members crying, Ethan standing frozen at the altar in his tux. Mom rushed to me. "Sarah, I'm so sorry. I should have believed you. I should have known. It's okay, Mom." "It's not okay. She's my daughter and I didn't see it. I didn't see any of it." She was sobbing now. "What kind of mother doesn't know her own child is a monster?" "She fooled everyone. That's what she does." Dorothy approached. "We need you to come to the field office. Give a formal statement." What happens now? Rachel's being charged with 47 federal counts. We arrested 11 co-conspirators in her identity theft ring this morning. She's looking at 60 years minimum. 60 years? She'd be 89 when she got out. What about Ethan? He's cooperating. Had no idea about any of it. He's a victim, too. I looked over at him. He was sitting in the front row now, head in his hands. His Aunt Nancy was beside him, rubbing his back. The other victims? We're contacting them all. With Rachel's records, we can help them clear their names, restore their credit, get their lives back. 12 people. 12 lives destroyed. But at least now they'd have a chance. And me? Dorothy smiled. All charges dropped. Your record will be expunged. The DA is issuing a formal apology. And Sarah? She handed me a folder. Settlement offers from the credit card companies, banks, and institutions Rachel defrauded. Total of $890,000. It's yours. I stared at the number. Almost $1 million. Blood money, in a way. Payment for 6 years of hell. What will you do? Dorothy asked. I thought about it. About starting over. About reclaiming my life. I don't know yet, but for the first time in months, I get to decide. The trial took 6 months. Rachel pleaded not guilty, claimed I'd framed her, tried every legal maneuver her expensive lawyers could think of. But the evidence was overwhelming. The jury deliberated for 3 hours. Guilty on all 47 counts. The judge sentenced her to 65 years in federal prison. No possibility of parole for 20 years. You systematically destroyed lives for profit, the judge said. You betrayed your own family. You showed no remorse, no recognition of the harm you caused. You are a danger to society. Rachel showed no emotion. Just stared straight ahead. When they let her out, she looked at me one last time. No hatred now, just emptiness. I wondered if she'd ever really felt anything at all. Mom went to therapy, joined a support group for parents of criminals. She tries to visit Rachel in prison, but Rachel refuses to see her. I don't have a mother, Rachel told the guards. Tell her to stop coming. Ethan moved to Europe. His Aunt Nancy said he needed distance from everything that happened. I don't blame him. James reached out to apologize. I told him I understood, and I did, but we didn't get back together. Some things are too broken to fix. I used the settlement money to start a nonprofit, Identity Theft Recovery Services. We help victims navigate the legal system, restore their credit, rebuild their lives. In the first year, we helped over 200 people. One of them was a woman named Grace. Rachel had sold her identity when Grace was 19. By the time Grace figured it out at 25, she had $400,000 in debt, criminal warrants in 3 states, and couldn't get a job. I thought I was going crazy, Grace told me. Everyone said it was my fault, that I was irresponsible. My own family didn't believe me. I know, I said. I know exactly how that feels. We got her record cleared, got the debt dismissed, got her life back. She cried in my office when I told her. Why are you doing this? She asked. Helping people like me. Because someone helped me. And because your story isn't over, neither is mine. 3 years later, I'm 32. I have a new apartment, a new job, a new life. I date sometimes. Carefully. Trust doesn't come easy anymore. I still look like Rachel. We're identical twins. I can't change my face. But when I look in the mirror now, I don't see her. I see me, the real me, the survivor. Rachel's in year 3 of her sentence. I heard she works in the prison library, keeps to herself, doesn't make trouble. Sometimes I wonder if she ever thinks about what she did, if she has regrets. But mostly, I don't think about her at all. Because the thing about betrayal is this. It shows you who people really are. And sometimes the person who destroys you does you a favor. They burn down the illusions. They force you to see the truth. Rachel thought she was taking my life. But really, she gave it to me because I built something new from the ashes, something she could never touch. I survived. I fought back. I won. And that's a life she could never steal. Your story isn't over. If someone's stolen your identity, your credit, your name, fight back. Document everything. Report it to the FBI. Don't give up. The truth always comes out. Justice might take time, but it comes. You're stronger than you think. You'll survive this. I did. And to anyone who's been betrayed by someone they trusted, I see you. Your pain is real. Your anger is valid, but you're not alone. We survivors, we stick together.